Hello, my name is Tommy Wättring, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I am so happy to be joined by Tommy Wättring. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I know we were just talking a bit before the interview about how crazy it's been for you these past couple of weeks with all the promo, everything going on. So tell me, where's your mindset at right now that the season is finally out there?
It's still so surreal because everything that's happening and Instagram and Twitter and everything, all the messages, it's just crazy. It's hard to take in because this whole acting thing has always been a childhood dream, and now it's starting to become real, and it's just so surreal it's so surreal it's too big to understand. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can tell you're sitting there going I'm trying to find the words for this, but I know you're taking it all in stride and remaining humble. And I'm so glad that it's finally all kind of coming together. So I wanted to cycle back a bit before we actually dive into the show, because you did start acting professionally at age 13. So who or what were your early inspirations that made you want to pursue a career in the arts?
That's a big. I've always liked Joel Kinnaman, if you know, a Swedish actor who's now in Hollywood, because he did a bunch of Swedish stuff over here, like Johan Falk and Snabba Cash, Easy Money, and that was a big deal for me when I was a kid, like seeing him and then seeing him moving over to Hollywood. So he has been what do you say, like an idol or someone looking up to. So yeah.
What was it about, watching movies and TV shows that really made you say, I want to do that too? Was it any kind of action? Was it just being able to play a different character other than yourself?
Yeah, it got more serious when I was getting older, because I didn't quite understand what acting was all about when I was a kid. It was more like I got a script, and it's said be sad or be happy, or he's feeling that, and I didn't quite understand really what acting was all about until I was in theater school for 2 years ago.
You mentioned theater school. I know you trained at Actors Studio Sweden. So what major lessons did you take away from your studies there, and how did it prepare you going into your role in Young Royals?
One thing I really took with me from Actors Studio was to be real and to let it go, and don't be afraid to show feelings, because we're just acting, nothing is for real. And that was one big thing. Like if we were doing a scene and I'm screaming at you, it's nothing personal, because it's just fake. So that was one thing that I really learned, how to let it go, to be real.
And it's really nice to make sure that you kind of set those boundaries and those differences early on, before you go into a big project. I know that you did weekly play reading series, so those must have been a lot of fun to interact with others and kind of just focus on your dialogue and your delivery.
Yeah, that was really a, what do you call it, an important lesson, and you learned a lot different. You learned a lot from reading different plays. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite?
Yeah, I liked a street. What do you call it? A streetcar
Streetcar
named
Named
Desire.
Desire. Yeah,
Yeah, I love
that's a
that.
good one.
Yeah.
And outside of acting, you train in martial arts. So what can you share about, like, how long have you been training for, and what sparked your passion for movement?
Yeah, I trained when I was younger. I think I trained like 6 years or something, boxing and MMA and Thai boxing and judo and jiu-jitsu, I think you say. Yeah. And it was just, I loved it because it was just, not because it was violent, but it was more same there. Nothing is personal, you know. You're just, it was a fun training form, you say so? And it was, I don't know, I didn't think like of the movements and stuff, or how do you say? Sorry, my English is a bit.
No worries. I think it's interesting watching, kind of clips, and you see photos. I know on Twitter you're a big UFC fan. Did you ever think about doing like boxing or fighting professionally, or was it always kind of just like a hobby for you?
I had in my mind when I was 16 or 17, like I'm gonna get to the UFC, but then I realized I'm not tough enough because it's so much brain, and it's really dangerous also. Like one punch or one kick, if it just hits wrong, you know, it can be over. And that's also one very scary thought. So, but as I became older, I realized that I'm never gonna make it to UFC.
It's like, oh, there goes my dream. I'm sure though, like your family and friends are kind of like, it's nice that you have a passion for it, but it also, like you mentioned, it can be dangerous, and I'm sure no one wants to see you get hurt. But who knows if future roles come along? I mean, you can fight in those, so never say never for some kind of actions or stunt work. Let's talk about Marcus and Young Royals. What can you share about your audition process, and what were you told early on about this character and how he fit into the story?
The casting process was under, I think it was during 2 months, and I was told he was this new love interest of Simon, and he was this guy who was very calm. He was very, what do you say, comfortable with himself. He could be open about himself. He didn't, what do you say, he didn't he wasn't ashamed of Simon, or that he was being gay, or so yeah, that was the first I heard about Marcus.
So you mentioned it happened over 2 months. So like who did you kind of read in front of? Did you have to do any chemistry tests or meet with Omar as Simon?
Oh, yeah. The casting process was, first I did a audition with the casting director, and then I had to do the second audition with another guy, but it wasn't Simon, but he played Simon, Omar's part. And then I did a third and a chemistry test with Omar, and we did this intimate, do you say intimate? Yeah, intimate scenes, and that was really scary. That was really nervous because before I got this part, I've always been, I promise you, I've gotten 50, 60 no's the last 5 or 4 years, you know. You always go to this last step and meet the actor and director, and so yeah, it was a bit scary because I have always tripped on the finish line. Do you say so? Like, boom, oh sorry, no, you're too old, or no, you're too
Oh yeah,
bad.
like making it past that final hurdle. So you've been there before, but it's actually like after, that final test when they tell you, okay, you've been cast as this character.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't got that phone call in many, many years that they were saying like, hello, you got the part. So it was when I got the part, it was a huge relief. Like I felt like 100 kilos easier, lighter.
Yeah, it was like a big weight lifted off, and I'm so glad that you got this experience and you got this part. So given what you said, after that final kind of test or scene opposite Omar, like were you still nervous like to hear back, or did you know that you did a good job?
No, no, no. I was so nervous. Like afterwards, it was horrible. Couldn't sleep. I asked my friends, my mom and dad, like, don't call me, like, because I know if I'm gonna get a call, it's gonna be from the casting director. So please, everyone, I told everyone not to call me. Like, text me if you want something, because I just wanted that first call to be the casting director or Netflix to tell me I got the part. But yeah, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat normally, and it
How
was,
long was that wait for you?
oh, it felt, I think it was like 8 or 9 days, but it felt like too long.
You're like, it felt like a year or something like that. When you got the call, who was the first person that you told?
It was with my girlfriend. I was actually in Tenerife in Spain, Tenerife, yeah, and we were gonna go out on the sea, like a boat trip or something. And oh shit, I got. And I remember she was brushing her teeth, and my phone called, and I saw it was the casting director. So I got and I started talking to him, and he was like, just small talking, like, how are you doing, blah 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 blah. And then he told me like, you got the part, and I started crying. I cried like a baby, because yeah. And then my girlfriend came out. She was brushing her teeth and like, what's going on? And I told her I got the part, and she went bananas. And yeah, it was a fine moment.
When you were on the call, I'm thinking you're thinking like, oh, here it comes, like he's going to say, how are you, hope you're doing well, unfortunately. So it was nice to get that turnaround, that it was happy news.
Yeah, kind of, but I knew, because I don't know how it works. You're from US, you're from United States, right?
Canada.
Yeah,
But I would
Canada.
say it's similar to US, yeah, in
Yeah,
America.
okay. I don't know how they do it on the other side of the ocean, but in Sweden they always, when you don't get the part, they never call, because the casting directors know that if they call, the actor thinks that they have gotten the part. So whenever you don't get, no, what do I say? Whenever you get a call from a casting director after a bit of, yeah,
Okay, it is something positive. So it was good actually that, okay,
so
good
I
that
knew
they
when
called.
I
Yeah.
saw his name pop up, I couldn't barely talk with him.
Well, that is such a nice story, and I'm sure it's something that you'll keep with you, like that memory of hearing that news. In the scene that you had to do with Omar, like was it the episode 2 kind of intimate, the kiss scene at Marcus's place?
No, it was actually from, I think it's episode. They had a rewrite in it for when we started to shoot, but it was the breakup scene, or not the breakup scene, but when he tries to break up with Marcus, when he comes there on the four-wheel at the stable. Like when he's talking to Simon, oh, you're not like your father, and blah blah
Okay.
blah blah blah. So
Okay.
it was that scene.
How did you shape your character? I'm curious if you were given like a firm description, an idea, or was there room for collaboration?
Oh, there was a lot of room for collaboration. I remember I got these instructions. He was calm, he was down to earth, and he was, yeah, I got those instructions, and I started talking to Lisa Ambjörn, the writer, and she told me like, if you want to flip ideas or just talk with me, so call me anytime. And I would like to say that I was pretty free to do what I wanted with the character. And I started to, a thing from theater school, I started to write down. I think I wrote like 4 or 5 pages what is Marcus' mission? What is he doing here? Why is he doing that? So I really did my best. I really tried to do my best to understand Marcus and his purpose with Simon.
What do you think his motivations were? I mean, we know that it's interesting because his family is also from like Bjärstad. We know he goes to Maryburg, but they seem to be a bit more on the wealthier end. Like his family owns land, they rent it to Hillerska. So did that kind of was that something you thought about when you were writing notes down about Marcus?
Yeah, I always had that in my mind, because most of the people at Hillerska, and as you can see in the series, are very around above the clouds, you know, they're not down here. So like I always tried to have that in my mind, like it doesn't matter if he's rich and owns the land of Hillerska and the stable, like he's just a normal guy, and he's a farmer. Do you say so? Farmer? Yeah, he's a farmer, he's a stable boy, like he doesn't care about money. Like, yeah, he has his horses, the farm. That's that. He's just a normal guy, and yeah.
Yeah, and you could tell he's like happy and content. As you mentioned, you know, there is some wealth involved, but up here Marcus is working. Like he works at the stables, he works at the shooting range, so he has like a good work ethic. Where did you source inspiration from in playing Marcus? Like what did you really want to focus on in your portrayal of him?
What I really wanted to show was that he was, and I hope it was seen, but what I really wanted to bring out to the audience was that he was this calm, safe, down-to-earth guy that doesn't care about what people think, and yeah, kind of like that. And the inspiration for that is like, I'll have to come back to that question because it's a good question.
Do you think that you pulled inspiration? Like it doesn't just have to be from other like characters that you've seen, but people maybe in your real life who you know as being like calm. And something that I thought was interesting about Marcus is, you know, just in contrast to someone like Wilhelm, is he is honest and he is direct, it was something new for, you know, we'll say romantic partner in Simon's life.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you mean, but when you say it like that, I think maybe because this might sound ridiculous, but Marcus, like we said, Marcus have this. He has the money, his family is wealthy, and all of that. But I think for me, the inspiration was, if you look at people that are powerful in real life, like all of them aren't bad, if you know what I mean. Like take the Bill Gates, for example. He has Microsoft. He's one of the world's richest men, but he donates money, and he seems like a down to earth guy. Like, you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, that was one inspiration, you know, powerful humans, but they're still like down to earth.
Yeah, I don't think that sounds ridiculous at all. I mean, you know, as the actor, it's up to you to find inspiration and put kind of pieces together from what you see in your life, or even people like you mentioned, people in the media and people who we see in the news every day. So I'm really just interested in your thought process and how you put this character together. I know that your favorite scene you said on Twitter was the karaoke scene. So I'll ask, why was it your favorite?
The karaoke scene. It was my first day of shooting, and like I said, I have gotten so many no's for the past 5 or 4 years, you know. And this time, when I've got the part, I really wanted to show them, like, now you have the right guy for this part. So that was just, for me, very a very personal scene because I got the chance to really like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna kill it. Like, so that's why, because it was first of all, it was my first day, and I really wanted to show them like, you have the right guy. And I just wanted to sing as ugly as possible, as loud as possible, dance as ugly as possible, and just embarrass Simon as much as possible, like just giving yourself out. Yeah.
Such a fun scene, and you definitely put it all out there. I was gonna say, I mean, the singing, yeah, a tad off key, but as long as you were having fun and, you know, up on stage proving yourself. I wish we got to hear the whole song, because I know it kind of in the final cut you hear a portion, but then it kind of has an overlay of other music. So did you actually, like, did you film an entire song from start to finish?
Yeah, we if I remember correctly, I think we shot it like maybe like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times, the whole scene together. Like,
So
the
it is
singing.
out there, like the whole song somewhere. We need Netflix to just release the whole song, because yeah, it was fun. And I mean, you said first scene, so I guess you got to work on your first day with Inti as well.
Yeah, it was my first day with Into also. It was, yeah, I remember that day. It was so, everything was just so perfect that day. It was so, it was so lovely.
What attracted Marcus to Simon? What did he like about him?
I think it was that he knew who Simon was, because they were on kindergarten together, and like his past with Wilhelm, and I think he was interested in Simon because Simon is also this calm guy, and I think it depends like how you see, because there could be very many reasons he could. That's a really good question. But I think it was just interested in Simon because Simon was Simon. Like, he's a good guy and he's a good looking guy. Like, yeah.
He was curious about him. He was interested. Clearly, this is someone he knew before, and seeing him in his home, kind of like reconnecting. I don't know. I know people have mixed feelings about it, but I really like the scene where he kind of sees him again for the first time. Were you really happy filming that scene? What was that like? Because as your character, you know, it might have been years since he's seen Simon.
Yeah. Do you mean the intro scene in episode 1? Or
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
when he's playing the singing, and then he comes in.
That was an incredible day of shooting, and it was this incredible chemistry between me and Omar, of course, but then between Simon and Marcus. Like, everybody that was on the set could tell something is in the air here, like something is going on, and I hope the audience could feel that, because when we shot that, like, it's hot in here, you know, something like that. It was so crazy. But yeah, like you said, when we shot that, we could really feel like what is going on, what is happening here, you know.
Like a new electricity, a new layer to the story. Now in episode 2, they share an intimate moment at Marcus's place. What was it like working with your intimacy coordinator, Sarah, on that scene? And how did you feel personally going into it?
I loved it. It was, I love Sarah. She's amazing, and she's so funny, and she really has this energy to make everyone calm, because yeah, it was amazing working with Sarah. And the scene, personally, I didn't feel nervous or something, because I always said to Omar, like, between us, it's nothing personal, you know, we're just acting. And I enjoyed it. It was maybe a bit scary, but it was also, it was funny. It was really funny.
I love that you say funny, because I know it's like it's a serious scene, but I think any time that the set creates an environment and the people around you and it's safe and collaborative, it makes it all the more better when you're actually filming. Did Omar, did you kind of discuss it before? You mentioned like setting the boundaries. This, this is acting. Did he give you any tips? Because this is something that he kind of went through in season one, working a lot with Sarah and with an intimate partner in these scenes.
Yeah, he was like, he told me I could always talk to him. Like if I had any ideas or something, I could always tell him or talk with him. Or so he was really open-minded. That was his, like, you don't have to be ashamed, just ask me anything, like that. And that was, I loved working with him. It was fun. He's a good man.
That's so nice to hear, especially because you had so many scenes together. In episode 3, Simon admits he's not ready for a relationship, but Marcus insists that they take it slow. Why was Marcus so focused on them being together despite Simon's hesitations?
Because I think he really liked Simon. Like, he really liked being with him, and the karaoke, he really loved being with him. It's, from Marcus' point of view, I think for him it's really easy to be with Simon, because it feels like he has some kind of diagnosis. Because when we're seeing this as an audience, it's like, oh, come on, Marcus, just read the codes, read the signals.
The room, yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that. And I think he wanted to be with Simon because he really liked him and enjoyed being with him and all of that. Not like a father's figure, but it was like he wanted to help Simon to find the way.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I also, and I think people saw throughout the season that potentially, they weren't really equals, because Marcus did take this role in which he did want to kind of act as a protector in a way. When you saw the scripts for the first time and you saw that Marcus brought up Simon's family and his troubled history with his father, what were your thoughts? Because I know that was very controversial, him bringing that up to kind of pull Simon into their relationship.
Yeah. I think the first time I read it, and like I said before, it was my audition scene with Roshta and Omar. And I remember talking to Roshta before I got the part, like, this is the moment to set who is Marcus. Is he a, how do you say, is he a what do you say, like gaslight? Is he a gaslighting person? Like, does he just want to be kind, but he can't read the room, read the signals, understand the signals? But I think personally, I think it's a bit wrong to do that. I think it's pretty weird, like out of nowhere, start talking about his dad and like, why did you do that? But yeah.
It definitely set the tone, and there is some gaslighting in there. It's definitely like a manipulation on Marcus's part. But like you said, maybe he doesn't see it. Maybe he just can't read the room. At the masquerade ball, Marcus sees Wilhelm also emerge from outside when he goes to find Simon. And it's interesting because you can see in the final cut that Marcus also looks over at Wilhelm after the choir performance. So what is he thinking about? What's going through Marcus's mind?
He knows. He knows. You know that TikTok song, he knows. He knows. I think it's kind of that, like he knows, but at the same time, they're standing there clapping their hands. He's looking at Wilhelm. Wilhelm is looking at him, and he's still standing there and smile. Like, Marcus, do you just understand what happened? Like, why are you smiling? It's the same. It's a tricky question, but I think he maybe thinks like he's trying to push away that thought. Like, oh, I didn't see that. I only saw them come up, and that doesn't mean anything. Like something like that.
Especially because Simon keeps denying that Wilhelm is the reason he can't be in a relationship. Take me through that conversation between Marcus and Simon in episode 6, like that final kind of breakup scene.
I love that scene. Part 4, because Lisa Farsane, if you know the director, she's a big director in Sweden. And when first of all, I got the opportunity to work with her and doing that more emotional scene, and that was amazing. And I remember Lisa gave me instructions, like word for word. I want you to go like that, and then like that, and then like that, and then boom, like that, and then I want you to. And I was like, okay. But yeah, it was a challenging scene because of the directions Lisa gave me, like up and down, up and down, up and down. And then I have these emotions because I wanted it to be real, mean what you say what you mean. And I think we handle it pretty good.
Did you do any preparation yourself going into that scene? Like, how do you prepare for something so emotional? Do you like to take time for yourself, go over your scripts? Do you listen to music?
I just wanna like, of course I wanna have the script in my head, like the words, and then I just want to put everything off me, like, you know, shake it up, shake it loose, and like not scream, but like come into like, you know, what do you say, hype?
Yeah. Like you want to be energized, hyped up, hype yourself up before a scene. How do you do that though?
I have some. It's just about shaking it off in the body, like shake arms.
Okay, so like an exercise kind of thing. It's like you and your trailer are preparing and shaking it all. Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of, and just don't feel any. Just to relax, you know, take away all the tension in the face, you know, look stupid, but you know, stuff like that, and just be in the moment.
He tells Simon that he is not the victim like he pretends to be, and that he's turned on by the drama. Was that really difficult or for you to kind of deliver those lines, or did you find that spot and that mood right away?
No, it was difficult. It was part challenging because, well, first of all, me and Omar had been really comfortable with each other. You know, we could start looking angry and do the scene, and suddenly, out of nowhere, start laughing and fuck the scene. Oh, do it again, you know. But and somewhere that was my last day also on the set of the shooting, and somewhere I had in myself like it's sad, you know. And I was trying to use that also, like sad and angry because it's over. It's my last day.
Do you think that upon any reflection, Marcus might feel guilt for pushing a relationship on Simon, maybe realizing that he wasn't really listening to what Simon had to say?
No, I don't think, because Marcus can't read the room.
This is who he is. Like, there's no other option.
Yeah, like he didn't push Simon into a relationship, not from his point of view. Like, he only saw it's a bit selfish, because he only saw himself, his point of view. Like, he just wants the best for Simon, and Simon doesn't appreciate that, and la 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 la. Like, yeah, I don't think he cares about what Simon thinks.
You did mention briefly talking about Omar, who you shared so many scenes with. What was your meeting like for the first time during the audition process?
First of all, I remember I was out on a walk, just trying to calm down, and the casting director texted me like, "Yo, we're early. Can you come in earlier and meet us?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I remember walking in, he met me down the stairs, took me into this room, and there was Omar and Roshta. And it was like, fuck, there he is. Now we're gonna do this scene. It was, it was a bit scary to meet him, because I know he has his part. Now it's my turn. And I knew that I really had to try to bond with him and feel the chemistry between us right away. Like, I have to talk with him, like, "Oh, how are you doing? What are you doing today? Oh, la 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 la." So it was a bit scary from when I met him at the first time.
What can you say about Omar as a person, and what are your thoughts on Simon's song?
Omar is incredible, because we have all of these scenes together, and then he has helped me a lot with like this Instagram thing, and with Twitter, like, how do I behave, how do I act, how do I speak, what do I say, he's been a real sweetheart, can you say so? He's been really, really helpful and really nice. And what was the other question? Not about
Omar?
Simon's
song. What was your thoughts about that one?
When I hear it, me, Tommy, everyone can tell, like, it's to Wilhelm, it's to season 1, what they've been through. But what Marcus can see, it's just a beautiful song from Simon. It's, what is it about? Like, that kind of thinking. But personally, I love it. When Omar did that, I remember at the ball, when we did the ball scene, he went into a room with the song team. What do you call them?
Like the choir music.
Choir, thank you. Yeah. When he was warming up with the choir, and his voice, like, boom, it's crazy. He has not the voice of an angel, but it's incredible. Like, he can really sing, that man.
I mean, pretty close to the voice of an angel, I would say. Close. I was reading an interview that Omar did in Digital Spy, and he said you were super talented, nice, professional, and like a teddy bear. So compliments all around.
That's really fun to hear.
And you also got to share scenes with Edvin, Nikita, Frida, Inti, Carmen. So what was it like to meet and work with them for the first time?
It was like, everything has been amazing working with them, because they're young, all of us are almost at the same age, and to see how different actors at this young age, like, how does Edvin work, how does Nikita work, how does Frida work, it's so fun to see how all of them are. I have a problem with the English words, but how they approach it, like how they approach so it has been amazing to work with these young same age actors.
Were you able to talk with them a lot? Like, take me behind the scenes. What are some of your favorite memories from set?
Yeah, it's, I tried to bond with everyone as much as I could, and everyone has been really open. Like, they talk, they help you, and like with Nikita, how can I do that? Nikita, this Instagram thing, how do you do that? And Edwin, how do you meet the fans? Like, they're just so open-minded, everybody, and like ready to help. Like, that was one thing I really enjoyed, because everyone is on the same level, no one is better than, I'm not better than you and you're not better than me. Like, everyone is at the same page.
It's nice that you were able to get those helpful tips and advice from the rest of the cast, especially I would say that you were kind of the only main new character in season 2. So you're like they call the new kid on the block. What was your favorite scene as a viewer in season 2 and why? So one that Marcus was not in.
Ooh, I think that's a good question. But I really like the ending, when the whole situation, like the queen comes and Wilhelm is gonna have his speech, because the views, the pictures, that the frames, everything, the people, I think it was a beautiful shot, and the acting in it was just, so I would say the last scene, because it's also a really good cliffhanger.
Yeah, the Jubilee speech, that one was, I think people necessarily weren't expecting that to happen, but the way it played out, and you mentioned like the framing and everything was so good. If the show is renewed for a season 3, do you see a future for Marcus in the show? Like, would you like to return?
Yeah, both yes and no. Yes, of course, I would love to return. Like, and I would love for Marcus to return if it was possible, and if it's gonna be a season 3. But and somehow I don't know, if is he done with Simon, or is Simon done with Marcus? Like, it's a tricky question. Yeah, of course, I would love to. If I got the opportunity, I would love to come back. If Marcus got the opportunity.
Of course, you would love to work with everyone again, but it has to do with the story and if it was right for Marcus to come back. But I mean, we do know he goes to school with Rosh and Ayub. So, I mean, there could be some space in some capacity for him to return. The fan base is so passionate. When you were first announced as joining the cast, I think it was in July, the first picture came out. There was a lot of speculation who Marcus would be, how he would affect Wilhelm and Simon. At that time, were you nervous at all how he would be received?
Not really. I was more nervous of this thing that, holy moly, maybe I'm gonna get some followers on Instagram. Like, but yeah, maybe at some point I started to think like, how is he gonna get received? Like, what are people gonna think? Because you get so self-aware how you look, and like, are people gonna like him? Are they gonna think he's handsome? Like, so yeah, at one point I was nervous, yeah, but it was also it was a relief, because it was so secret, all of this, like no one could follow me on Instagram. And when we had these parties, the rap party and the middle halfway through party, and there was no pictures of me, like I couldn't be seen.
No
And on
Tommy
one
on the
way,
Instagram. Like it's like you had to wear something that said, don't take a photo of me, I'm not here."
yeah, like I remember one time specifically when we were out on a club, on this halfway through party, and people were like filming around, and suddenly I came across, and they were like, oh, sorry.
I wonder if you feel a bit like, oh, should I be here? Because people have to continuously like put their phones down when you walk by.
Yeah, on that way it was very tough to have joined the season 2, to be so secret, and I couldn't tell anyone, like my friends or anyone, that I have gotten this. I said to people like, yeah, I have got a new role, it's nothing big, it's short film for a couple of months, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you were you were Young Royal's big secret, so that does count for something. Have you read any of the comments or reactions now that the season's been released? Everyone gets to meet Marcus. Like, what kind of DMs or messages have you received?
It's a lot. Also, it's much. It's some people just wanna say hi and you did a wonderful job, and just sending some love messages, and like, oh, come to Mexico, oh, come to China, oh, come here and visit me. And some people just want to flirt with you say so, just want to be a bit flirty, like, hello. And I love it, the fan base and the fans, because they're so good at separating the actor and the character. Like, I've seen on Instagram, they have this Marcus hate club, and they hate Marcus but not Tommy. So that's one good thing. I have read many, not mean, but not hate, but some rude comments about Marcus, but the fans always they always say or mention it's nothing against Tommy, it's against Marcus, and that is one beautiful thing.
That must be so nice for you because, this is a character that you might have known would get some negative reaction, but as long as they can separate the two, then you're good. And I know a lot of people just are so in love with this show, and just hats off to everyone involved. And also, people like Lisa and Roshta and the other writers and directors, because it really is a team effort. And it must have been so nice getting to work with them as creatives and leaders. So what was that like?
It was amazing, because Roshta always was so open-minded. Like, she wanted to do the scene as it stood in the script, and then we can like do whatever you want, like that kind of stuff. And I have a lot of respect for Lisa and Roshta and all of them, because they're amazing and they have really succeed with this young adults drama. Like, the actors, and it's young people who is first of all, it's young people that is directing, it's young people that have wrote the scripts, and then makes the series more realistic also. So, yeah, they're amazing at every possible way.
Like you mentioned, these young people, they have such a modern take, but also, they're pulling ideas from kind of history and traditions. And yeah, it's just such a phenomenal show. And I'm sure that they are so nice as people as well.
Yeah, they're lovely.
We'll go through some tweets now.
Young Royal spoilers. Simon really has a man he met once coming to taxi him around for free at 9 p.m. at night with zero notice or explanation. What does he have that I don't? Yeah. Simon doesn't appreciate Marcus.
And Marcus is fine. That was a funny line about "I'm not a taxi." Was that in the script or was that improvised?
That was Roshta's improvisation. Like Roshta said, telling me another taxi. And I was like, okay. Thank God that was his answer, because I was hyperventilating already. Didn't know you had pets. What are their names? They don't have names. Ice cold. Ice cold, because everyone knows they have names. And I remember when we shot that scene, like we did it, we started doing it, and then all of us just snapped like, fuck, do you remember season 1? Oh yeah. So yeah, it was big. I love it.
So everyone there knew that this would be a memorable scene for viewers?
Not, but we hoped it would be a kind of like a heartbreaker for people. Like, oh, did he say that? Good. Team Marcus. I'm gonna need to have some word with Omar, Edwin, and Tommy. Yeah, Team Marcus.
So this was the Netflix video reacting to fan comments. So knowing what you know about Marcus, are you Team Marcus? Is Tommy Team Marcus? Like, do you have to be, or do you think that you are on Team Wilhelm and Simon?
No, Team Marcus.
You're like, I have to back my character.
I have to back him because he didn't do anything wrong.
Subtle wink there. I liked in the video they purposely put you in between Edwin and Omar. Is that something that you thought was funny when you were there, or did it feel right that they had to put you in between them?
I kind of like, because at that moment everyone had gotten this code to Netflix and had seen the second season, but I hadn't. So when they started talking, you know, I was like, what are they talking about? Like, who is the fourth person in this triangle drama? Why are they talking about Santa or Christmas? And why are they, you know, I wasn't there mentally because I was trying to figure out what are they talking about. And the Netflix could said to me like afterwards, sorry, we forgot to give you the codes, and we could notice that you didn't keep up with them. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, they're so mean to you. They put you a step behind before filming that. When they did they give it to you right after, and you were able to screen the second season?
Yeah, I got it the same day. So as soon as I came home, you know, I just went to the couch and started to watch the second season.
You're like, I don't want to be behind any longer. What were your thoughts when they said that this was a love triangle? Like, did you see it as a love triangle?
Both yes and no, because I thought it would be before I had read the script, I thought it would be a more intense love triangle, but it's still a love triangle, definitely. How do you say definitely? Yeah. So yeah, I would call it a love triangle. What is this? Is this the worst one? Let's see. Want Marcus in season 3 for the sole purpose of seeing Wilmon being couple eye in front of him. I like it. I would love it. Oh my god, yes, you're so mean. Do it again. I want to see him tear the bitch apart. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
Like, somehow, as we have talked about, I don't know if he would understand that they're trying to do him jealous or something, because like we said, he can't read the room, you know, he can't read the signals. So but it would be a funny scene to do if it was it would definitely be a funny scene to do.
I'm curious. So, I mean, obviously Marcus wasn't in the Jubilee speech. It doesn't go to Halerska, but when he sees or hears what Wilhelm did during the speech, kind of standing up and declaring that it was him in the sex video, what do you think how would he react to that?
I think he would react bad, not bad, but I think it would be because he knew that Wilhelm was this, he can't be open about his sexuality and everything. And I think he would be mad because now he knows that Simon's definitely, how do you say definitely? Definitely, yeah. Because now he knows that Simon's definitely is gonna be with Wilhelm, because now Wilhelm is open, he don't care. So I think he will be sad, pissed off. I think it would be a lot of feelings for Marcus.
In a perfect world, Marcus would find someone who is perfect for him. And I really do think that if him and Simon were at different maybe stages in their life and they both recognized that they had flaws, that something could work, or they could be friends. They had fun at karaoke. You could see that. So who knows? It's all up to Netflix and the writers, but I have to say it was such a pleasure getting to see you this season and get to talk with you about it. So thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. I hope you had I hope you could understand what I mean and my sayings and my words, and I hope I have answered your questions good. So you
did, and I really appreciate you doing this interview in English because I know it is not your first language. So it is so appreciated. I know fans who speak English are also just so happy to hear from you and what you have to say. I have our signature question for you. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Ooh. Ben and Jerry's. Definitely. And I think cookie dough, because I love it. It's a really good. But I ate a new one. I have it in my fridge. Should I show you which one?
Which one do you think it is? Like, do you want to run to your fridge? You totally can if you want to.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm gonna show you. This one is called Chocolate Love Affair, and this one is really, really good. So yeah, maybe this one, but I think it's
Chocolate Love Affair. How appropriate for what we were just talking about in this interview. Thanks again to all those watching. You can catch him in season 2 of Young Royals. It is out now on Netflix, and we will see you next time.
Thank you very much.